Justice for Ahmaud Arbery. Justice for Ahmaud Arbery.
With arms locked in solidarity, Ahmaud Arbery's parents stood side by side with their legal team after a clean guilty sweep for federal prosecutors in Georgia. On the eve of the day that marks 2 years since Ahmaud's murder, a jury found Travis McMichael, Gregory McMichael, and William Bryan guilty on all counts in their federal hate crimes trial. Good evening. This is Making the Case. I'm Yodit Tewolde. Jurors deliberated for just about 4 hours over the course of 2 days, and in the end, they declared what so many believe to be true, that the men already convicted of murdering Ahmaud did it because he was black. BNC's Drew Clark has reaction from Ahmaud's family and legal team.
Justice for Ahmaud Arbery. Justice for Ahmaud Arbery.
Victory for Ahmaud Arbery's family. A jury unanimously agreeing with federal prosecutors that Arbery was targeted because he was black.
They stood up for Ahmaud to say that Ahmaud's life mattered.
Yes.
That Ahmaud will never be forgotten.
Gregory and Travis McMichael and William Bryan are now facing another possible life sentence in prison. During a trial that lasted less than a week, federal prosecutors called in 20 witnesses and showed jurors text messages and social media posts where the men repeatedly used the N-word, also calling black people monkeys, savages, subhuman, and no good at all. They also brought in people who told jurors about having uncomfortable and racist conversations with the McMichaels, whom they said hated black people. Prosecutors said the men assumed Arbery was a criminal when they saw him jogging through their neighborhood on February 23, 2020, and that their decision to murder Arbery was motivated by their racial animus and racial resentment of black people. Defense attorneys told jurors the McMichaels and William Bryan chased Arbery because he fit the description of a black man that had been seen on video walking around the inside of a home that was under construction. In the end, jurors considered the evidence, and after less than 4 hours of deliberating, they agreed. All three men are guilty.
It's very draining, but I look at this as a milestone, as being another milestone another challenge that we've overcome.
The McMichaels tried getting a plea deal before the trial started, but the Arbery family begged the judge to reject the deal, and she did. The Arbery family says prosecutors went against their wishes and would have allowed the deal to happen had they not stepped in and spoke out.
The lead prosecutor, Tara Lyons, stood up and asked the judge to ignore the family's cry. Justice. That's not justice for Ahmaud.
U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland spoke after the verdict.
I cannot imagine the pain that a mother feels to have her son run down and then gunned down.
The Arbery family finally getting the justice they wanted in state and federal court. Now they move on to the civil proceedings, where they're suing their son's murderers and some Glenn County officials for millions, alleging they tried to cover up their son's murder. In New York, I'm Drew Clark for Making the Case.
Tonight, I've got my team of legal experts here to help unpack all of this, including criticism of the DOJ by Ahmaud's mother, criminal defense attorney Drew Benbow and civil rights attorney Adante Pointer. Welcome to you both. Let's just start with reaction to the verdict. Is it what you expected? Adante, to you first.
It is. I mean, there was an overwhelming mountain of evidence showing that these men had racial hatred and animosity in their heart. And often, not only did they have it in their heart and in their spirit, but they also manifested it in terms of the way in which they went about their daily life. These men were racist to the bone, and they enjoyed doing racist acts, sharing racial jokes, and, all at the expense of African Americans. So this was a landslide verdict, and it should have been, given the mountain of evidence that they were facing.
Drew, it took the jury about 4 hours to reach a verdict. So your thoughts, please.
Did I expect the results? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm pleasantly surprised at the results. I did not expect it. There's been many instances in the past where We have all the evidence. We know what's supposed to happen. We know that that the defendants are guilty, but we can't get a guilty verdict. So I'm pleased with today's convictions, but I'm not pleased with the journey. This has been a long time coming. Ahmaud Arbery was murdered on February 23rd. The footage goes viral on May 5th. It takes months and months and months before these men are actually arrested for this. But I'm pleased with the conviction. I did not expect it.
Well, we're definitely going to get to that in a few. I will say that I would have agreed with you had the prosecution not had the evidence of what was actually in the defendant's minds. That's just unusual. So this case was definitely unique in that respect. All right. So after the verdict, Attorney General Merrick Garland said the verdict makes clear DOJ will use every resource at its disposal to confront unlawful acts of hate and hold the people responsible and accountable. Wanda Cooper Jones was not pleased with the DOJ. Here's some of what she had to say specifically about the plea deal that they negotiated against the family's wishes.
I spoke to Christian Clark and the lead attorney, Tara Lyons, begging them to please not take this plea deal. They ignored my cry.
All right.
I begged them.
Yes, you did.
Even after the family stood before the judge and asked the judge to not take this plea deal, the lead prosecutor, Tara Lyons, stood up and asked the judge to ignore the family's cry.
Adante, had the presiding judge allowed the plea deal to go forward, the McMichaels would have only pled to one count, right? And here, they obviously were found guilty on all counts. Look, prosecutors are advocates for victims and their families, which means that they should highly consider the needs of the families impacted by their decisions. That clearly didn't happen here. What do you make of Ms. Wanda's sharp criticism of the DOJ, especially the timing, given that they had just secured a win?
Well, I think it's important to note that, she's mourning the loss of her son, and she knows or has reason to believe that there are facts that the public was not aware of. If this plea deal had gone down, if you will, in the cover of night, our country would not have known the depths of the racist thoughts, the racial animus these three men had within their body that they then brought to bear and bring the death of her son. So I can totally understand, and I feel for that mother as someone who has hugged mothers, too many mothers, after losing their husband, their spouse, or their child, or their son at the hands of police officers or people who have done things wrong to their family. So I get the fact that she felt that her voice should be taking center stage since she was the one that felt the loss the most. The problem was the DOJ was looking for another way out to dispose of the case, a more easier way by way of a plea deal. This mother did the courageous thing. She stood up for her son and made sure the world would bear witness to the depths of the racial hatred and animus that these men shared and then ultimately brought to the death of her son because of their racist nature. I think she was very courageous.
Drew, absolutely. There's a number of reasons why the prosecution wouldn't want to move forward on a case like this. One, hate crimes are notoriously harder to prove. But again, like I said, this case is sort of unique in that they actually had evidence of the racist language and the racist thoughts of these three defendants well before Ahmaud was murdered. And also not to re-traumatize the family, to have to relive their loved one's final moments. But here the family was saying, that's okay, we want to go to trial. What do you make of the DOJ prosecutors asking the judge, after hearing Wanda Cooper's plea to the judge to ignore this deal, to still move forward?
Listen, that information was upsetting. I can understand Ms. Wanda Cooper Jones's dismay. Listen, when she spoke after the trial, that press conference, she said something. She said we had to make the DOJ act. They had to force action, And that's what they did. You mentioned the evidence of the text messages and the Facebook messages and all the other social media messages. Well, the star piece of evidence there, in addition to that, was that video. And one thing about these videos is that, but for that video, none of this would have happened. We probably wouldn't know about Arbery, and this trial would never have happened. So that's between that video and those messages of the racist language toward Black people, we wouldn't know about any of that stuff.
Adante, what do you think Ms. Wanda Cooper's sharp criticism of the DOJ and this win actually sends a message? What kind of message do you think that sends that is to federal prosecutors across this country who rarely often pursue hate crimes, even though they're on the rise right now?
Hopefully it gives them some encouragement. Hopefully her sharp criticism and frankly her sorrow as a mother, her angst, her sense of frustration with the way in which the system is currently working gives prosecutors the extra oomph that they need to go out here and fight these cases. We often hear that they won't prosecute these type of cases because, they're hard to win. The evidence isn't there. Well, perhaps the courage, the moral conviction isn't there. And if more of these cases are brought and dramatized and reported to the public, these cases will be easier to win. And so I was very happy to see this mother stand up for her son. And I hope that this may be the more recent version of a case like this being tried, but hopefully not the last, because trust you and me, and I'm sure the viewers know, there are more instances of hate crimes being perpetrated against African Americans and Black people in this country than that one case in this one victory. We're looking to see a sea change, if you will, at the DOJ, with doing as Attorney Garlic Marion said, which is bringing all the resources to bear to bring justice for each and every one of the people who are in this country, not just white people or some people or rich people, but all people.
Well, I wish that the AG would have addressed the issue of why his prosecutors were willing to take a plea in this case, but he definitely avoided that question. Okay, so Ahmaud's family isn't quite done. They say more people need to be held accountable, including former Brunswick District Attorney Jackie Johnson, who's been charged with violating her oath of office when she allegedly instructed officers not to arrest Bryan and the McMichaels. Another prosecutor, George Barnhill, is under investigation himself, but hasn't been charged with a crime. Drew, this is going back to what you mentioned before and how all of this sort of unraveled. So much focus is given to defendants, whether they're civilians, as in this case, or police officers in others, but we rarely focus on the roles of prosecutors and how they use their power and discretion to sometimes deny those of accountability. What do you think of these upcoming cases, these pending case, or this case against the DA there in Brunswick?
Yodit, I think you're spot on. We seldom focus on the prosecutors, and in this situation, it was egregious. In this situation, there were some 3 months before or until these 3 men were arrested, and it only came because some footage went viral 2 days prior, right? And again, but for this video, we wouldn't know anything about any of this stuff. We wouldn't know anything about these 3 men would still be on the street, right? And Ahmaud Arbery would still be dead. So I think you're absolutely spot on. I think that that we need to focus on not just the police officers. We need to focus on everybody in the chain that leads into these crimes, these murders, these hate crimes, right? And that's what my book, The Devil's Politics, sort of gets at. The book, we're talking about a political change, because when we're talking about these issues where this is all politics, there's someone's elected at every step. Whether you're elected and you're appointing someone, there's someone elected at every step, and we need to figure out a way to reimagine our participation as Black people in politics, and it'll trickle all the way down to the criminal justice system.